out to Geno Smith for playing an awesome game and being unstoppable. DK, amazing. Shout out to DK Metcalf and Rashard
Amazing to
Penny.
watch.
But the guy who wanted to leave because, oh my God, I want to be a top 5 quarterback in NFL history. I can't do that in Seattle. I can't do it. So Mr. Unlimited Russell Wilson. Unlimited Russell Wilson goes to Denver and he's thrown for 61% completion. Well,
Womp.
Geno Smith has thrown for 77%. Well, how often is Geno Smith throwing the ball and how often is Russ? Well, Geno Smith has thrown the ball 132 times and Russell Wilson has thrown the ball 131 times. Boom.
See, that's why. That's why his completion rating's so much higher.
Yeah.
He's got an extra passing yard in there.
So Geno Smith has completed 22 more passes than Russell Wilson. He has thrown for 100 more yards. It's 1,000 to 980. So about 67 more yards. But thrown for 6 touchdowns, 2 picks. Looks like he's a lot more efficient than Russ. He's finding his guys a lot better. And he's thrown more touchdowns. Done 2 more touchdowns. 6-4. I mean, if you're Russell Wilson was really good for a few years. And he made those Super Bowl runs for Seattle. But I was a fan of him, and I was always one of those people like, I would love to see Russell Wilson win an MVP. And then he would have some years, he would start off the season really hot. And I'm like, okay. And then just fall off a cliff. And I'm like, what happened? And then there are some years he started out really slow, and then he tore it up. And I'm like, what is going on? It's like he gets really hot in stretches, and he gets really cold. So it's very confusing. Very confusing.
You know what's amazing for me to watch? It's the fall of Russell Wilson. Because like you mentioned, like 2-3 years ago, Russell Wilson was one of the most loved quarterbacks in the NFL. We loved him.
Everyone I knew grew up watching Russell Wilson.
Me.
Like, yeah, I'll age myself like young-wise. Like, I'm 21. You're 24. We both grew up watching Russell Wilson. Everyone had a Russell Wilson jersey, Seattle. That was the bandwagon team. That was the team that was cool. And then everyone loved him. And now it's kind of like you mentioned Russell Wilson to a young kid who's like 13, 12, 15. It's like, yeah, sure. Are they going to analytically know who the best quarterback is? No. But you can gauge a player's popularity off of how well they're playing and how impactful a player, how easy they are to root for. And that matters with players. And no young kids love Russell Wilson. And then whenever I mention him, it seems like the only person who loves him is Colin Cowherd.
Oh, my God.
He's like, oh, my God. When you let Russ be Russ, let me tell you, quarterbacks who have personalities, I don't like that.
This is exactly what he says. He goes, they're saying that Russell Wilson's cooked. Right. I've been married 3 times. I know exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, I've been married 3 times.
Dude, shut up.
Yeah.
That's another person. Colin Cowherd. I've really fallen out of love with that. I used to love him when I grew up, but good Lord, he's so corny.
Yeah.
Such a cornball. He loves his Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you can see the change in media because like as soon as YouTube and podcasts became popular, you see Pat McAfee, a punter, hop on. And now he has the biggest sports show probably in history.
We should add context. The fact that he was the puncher for Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
2 of the best quarterbacks of our time. Andrew Luck, God bless his soul, he didn't play long enough, but good Lord. Two great, like Peyton Manning, top 5 quarterback all time. And Andrew Luck, well on his way to being an all-time great.
And then he just does a show with all of his friends from high school and college, basically. Like he has friends from like across the country, but he had all of them. And then basically the Boys podcast. He shoots up, and then you have someone like Colin Cowherd, and then Stephen A. Smith, Undisputed, Skip Bayless. It's like every time I turn on Undisputed, it's like Skip Bayless going like, I don't think LeBron James is the GOAT. I think Tom Brady's the best player. And then Shannon Sharp's like, Skip. And like they talk about, oh, Aaron Rodgers is better thrower than Tom Brady all time. Well, I think Patrick Mahomes isn't that good. Well, I like Lamar Jackson. I don't like Lamar Jackson. It's like it's the same topic, like, and you know exactly what they're gonna say. Like you can give me a tag for a show, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is what they're gonna say. I click on it, and then yep, like the same thing over and over again. And they're kind of like shaking because they're losing ratings, they're losing views, and people like Pat McAfee are taking over. The Kelsey brothers have a new amazing podcast. Barstool Sports emerged. Dave Portnoy, basically a private podcast. He just has a bunch of jabronis who make like subpar content, but like they get a ton of views and take away a lot from the mainstream media. So it's like, it's kind of like you got to step up your game, and you can't be defending people like Russell Wilson. Like, if a dude is playing bad, stop being like, well, I've been married 3 times and Dunkin' Donuts is inconsistent compared to Starbucks, so I like Russ. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, if a player's playing bad, like, yeah, he's playing really bad this season. Geno Smith's playing better. It's like, that's it. So it's like, when it comes to the Raiders and Broncos, Raiders hadn't won a game. Broncos defense was actually playing really well. They hadn't allowed a 100-yard rusher. And then the Raiders come into town.
Eat their lunch, dude.
Yeah. I was playing fantasy this week and I'm like, ooh, this is a really tough game. It was like 50 to 113, but I had Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs basically won me that game.
Josh Jacobs launched that game.
35 points. And it's like, well, now you're playing bad and it's affecting your defense at this point.
Well, not only that, but like, I think people are starting to lose faith in Nathaniel Hackett, which, like, duh. Of course you are. Nathaniel Hackett's an idiot. Of course you're losing faith in him. You start losing faith in him, especially on the defensive side, that defense could unravel potentially.
It's not only that Nathaniel Hackett's an idiot, it's you hired him to get Aaron Rodgers there. You hired Nathaniel Hackett because it was like, oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers is like, yeah, Nathaniel Hackett, you know, he's my dart buddy. He's funny and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, Aaron Rodgers is smart. And if you want to get paid the most amount of money possible and have the most ability in your situation, you have to make the organization uncomfortable. So Aaron's like, yeah, maybe I would like to play in Denver or somewhere else. And then they're like, oh, don't leave. We'll make you the highest paid quarterback of all time. And then Denver's like, well, strategically, let's hire Nathaniel Hackett to lure Aaron Rodgers. And then Aaron Rodgers is like, I'm staying in Green Bay. And everyone's like, well, that was a dumb coaching hire. And then they go get Mr. Unlimited, and then Mr. Unlimited seems pretty limited.